It's a 1190. The ballistic chart is set up for 60 degrees Fahrenheit, and based on just pre-calculated stuff, but it's not 60 degrees today. It's actually like about 52. So if it was 60, the chart says 58 minutes of angle, 58.3 actually, but it's a little bit colder than that, so I'm going to go probably 60 MOA up. Go back to 0. So 25. 50. 60. Right there. I'm going to do 3 minutes left for Spindrift and Coriolis. You ready?
Good.
So I hit about 2.5 targets to the right and about 2 targets high. So I'm going to come down 2 minutes and I'm going to come back right, or no. Yeah, I hit right, so I need to go a little more left. When I go left another 2 minutes, we'll go 5 minutes left.
Dude, you barely missed it.
Alright, need to come back up 1 minute. Need to go another minute and a half left. Still hitting to the right. Go ahead and add another minute to it, so I'm at 7.5 minutes left. The wind must be in that valley, must be pushing real hard left to right. Just off to the right side. Missed it by like maybe 3-4 inches.
A hair.
At this point, I'm close enough that I need to quit chasing the wind, because the error could just be in the grip size at this point. That one just missed off to the left.
Yeah. Just barely.
So at that range, 1 minute, or yeah, 1 full minute of angle is about almost about 12.5 inches. And so every click theoretically will move the bullet impact by about 4 inches. Hopefully I can get actually on the target without running out of ammo. Another thing to think about too is we're shooting through, we're right into we're well into the transonic zone. Actually, we're below it. The speed of sound, the sound barrier is at 1,070 yards. So we're shooting about 120 yards past the sound barrier, which in conventional, like, rifle shooting, it was always thought that once the bullet went through the sound barrier, back down through the sound barrier, slowing down, it would destabilize the bullet and it would start to yaw or tumble and flip, and they lost all their accuracy past that point. But they've since learned that, you know, with modern bullets, they actually tend to actually remain stable. So, but there is a difference in trajectory as far as vertical goes, because once it breaks the sound barrier, it actually is dropping less. Its forward momentum is slowing down less, because when it's pushing that sonic wave in front of the bullet, it's fighting that the whole way there, and so it's slowing down really, really, really fast. But once it gets below 1,000, you know, about 1,100 feet per second, then the bullet is no longer pushing the air, and the air molecules are at a, you know, they're slow enough at this point they can actually just kind of move out of the way. But above the speed of sound, they can't move out of the way in time, and that's where you get that sonic, like, crack. So when we're shooting through that sonic barrier, coming back down, you can have destabilization, but more than likely the bullet is actually going to not slow down as much. So rate of its deceleration is going to be less from that 1,000 feet per second on than it is from, say, 2,400 feet per second down to 1,000 feet per second. I think the cone of fire at that range is bigger than our target. So it's going to be a matter of, like, statistics whether or not I actually hit it. And the wind seems to be changing quite a bit. Now it's shooting back left a little too much. or back right a little too much. The problem with this is not having a reference point for the wind in the middle of that valley where the bullet has no wind block from the trees.
Yeah.
So that wind where the bullet is actually flying above through the valley, it may be 20 miles an hour, but there's no way to see it or read it. Especially with the overcast, if the sun was out, we could actually, there's a way to focus either the scope or that spotting scope, and you can focus it like halfway to the target and then kind of aim the scope at the target. Even though the target's going to be blurred out, you'll be able to see the mirage, the heat waves in the air. And but depending on how far they're bending and which direction they're bending will kind of tell you how fast the wind is going. But we don't have any like direct sunlight right now, so mirage is, there's no mirage.
Over to the right.
Yeah.
I told you I could see it from here.
Yeah, you can see it kick up from here.
There's also like a strange little wave almost to the target.
Yeah, so that is what they call the bullet trace, which is basically that sonic dispersion of the atmosphere as the bullet's passing through it. And it's not really like a vapor trail or anything because there's no vapor there. I mean, the bullet is getting hot, but it's not hot enough to like cause the water in the atmosphere to vaporize.
Yeah.
So you're just seeing that that sonic wave, which distorts visually, like it distorts the light and stuff, and you can just kind of see that distortion.
Breaking the sound barrier.
Oh yeah, yeah. But once once it breaks through the sound barrier, slowing down, that wave will go away. You know, you won't be able to see that distortion anymore. So somewhere around 200 yards, or around 100, somewhere between 100 and 200 yards before you get to the target is where that sound or that sonic distortion wave kind of goes away.
I was over to the right.
Oh, the left?
Was it to? It was to the left.
Yeah, just about a foot left.
Oh.
That one was way low and left.
That thing's hitting hard, dude. Golly, was that right under it?
Yeah, right in front of it, right low.
It's moving some earth when it gets there.
Should have it right at about 490 foot-pounds of energy at that range. So, like like a 45 auto at point blank.
Yeah.
Which, for a 308, I mean, 1,200, 1,200 yards is it's a long, long ways. Especially one with that, these bullets are only, the muzzle velocity is only 2,400. Got it.
I seen it swinging, dude.
Got it. Well, I'll send a couple more at it, and then we'll go get the target. See if I can hit it again. I actually don't mind shooting all of these up because I'm changing to a 208 grain, and I'm gonna have to redo my load development stuff. But if I can get the 208 grain to go the same speed, it's got a higher ballistic coefficient, so maybe it will be able to reach further out. And that's one of the things too about ballistic coefficient is that, like, companies that make these bullets, they advertise the ballistic coefficient where it's like at its highest point. So they're advertising a ballistic coefficient for, like, say this bullet, this 200 grain ELD-X. They're advertising it, but they're testing, when they advertise that ballistic coefficient, they're testing it at probably 2,800, around 2,800 feet per second. So something like a 300 Win Mag. So when you're slowing it down though, because like as the bullet slows down, that coefficient changes constantly. It's a constant variable deal. So as it slows down, it's changing, and it's not as high. So these are advertised at a .301 G7 BC. So G7 is a drag function for a G7 projectile. A G7 model projectile, where like a G1 is a flat base bullet. G7s are boat tail shaped, so they got a tapered base. And where I found that this is actually accurate, like truing my ballistic coefficient, because I'm not shooting them 2,800 feet per second, is that my actual true ballistic coefficient for these bullets in this gun at 2,400 is about 0.27. So it's significantly less than what they're advertised at. If I use the .301 and like that they're advertised at, and try to shoot that target based on it being at 1,100 yards, I would probably hit about 40 yards below the target. Like down the hill, it would have hit, as far as vertical goes, it would have probably hit about 20 feet low. Because it's not actually going, it doesn't actually have that high of a ballistic coefficient because it's not going that fast. So, for like people getting into long range shooting, they need to know that kind of stuff. It's like an advertised, number, it's a good place to start. But once you get your rifle zeroed, and then you build up a chart or something to take it out, and the chart says one value to get the bullet to a certain distance, to a certain temperature, and then when you go to shoot it, it takes a totally different value to actually get the bullet there. You can go back into the ballistic charts and calculators and adjust the BC until you get the chart to match what you actually had to dial to on the scope. And then that chart's going to be far more accurate at every range, between you and the target, and even further if you're going to shoot further. It's going to give you a much more accurate, correction for however far you're shooting. So you don't ever want to take the BC of a bullet by its face value, just like these 185 grain ones. The G7 BC on this is 0.283, and when I've trued them on a chart, they're closer to about 0.7 as well out of this gun, because they're not going at this advertised muzzle velocity. See, these are supposed to be going 2,600 feet per second, but that's out of a test barrel that's, you know, at least 20 inches, maybe 22 inches long, and we're shooting out of a 16-inch barrel. So my velocity I'm getting is about 2,500, about 100 feet per second less, which changes the ballistic coefficient. So you can't really just go off of what the box says. You'll miss your target if you do that. You know, almost 100% of the time.
Sounds like it. Unless you're inside 100 yards.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, if you're like, I would say inside 300 yards, it's probably totally fine, and you may even get away with it out to like 500 yards. But once you start really getting, like, you know, 700, 800, 900 yards, where like time becomes a factor, like the amount of time the bullet stays in the air, start getting, you know, a second and a half, 2 seconds. Like here, we're shooting, you know, probably 2.5 seconds to the target. Then, you know, then it's a real big factor, and you can pretty much throw the box numbers out the window. They're not going to do you any good. You gotta basically build a custom drag model, you know, based off of observed information. Like that's the whole concept of having a dope book, is data on previous engagement. So you just keep a record of what it actually took to get to the target. So like right now, I am at 58.5 minutes of angle vertical wise, and I'm dialed 9.75 minutes left because the wind is pushing so hard to the right. Yeah. Getting some vertical dispersion every once in a while. You get a round that hits about 4 or 5 feet low. But I really want to try some different powder. This just is the only powder I've been able to get that I can use in 308.
Come on through.
Went right over the top of it. I hit the little one.
The little one, dude.
Dude, I hit that 4-inch target. That's a 4-inch target. That's 1,200 yards.
Let's see it.
That was just low.
Golly.
That was pretty funny.
Yeah, that little one was dancing.
If there was no wind and I had enough rounds, I think with that 6.5 I could probably hit that target more than once, that 4-inch one.
Yeah, on a good still day.
Yeah, that PRC, I think it would have, no. You know, see, like you were saying earlier, like right now, I think I can actually see that target from here.
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah. That's pretty cool.
It took a minute.
Yeah. I'm gonna put these last 5 down there just to get some video from this angle.
Alright.
It would probably help if my gun was level.
I was looking at your bubble. I was wondering about that.
Yeah, that just keeps that's so you can level the rifle, because if it's canted a little bit, it can kind of have some you know, wind, like not wind deflection, but side to side deflection. You kind of do, but right there's good. That's a good spot. Now I gotta find the target again.
Whoa.
That was
Way
way
left.
off. That's weird.
The wind's gusting hard.
Yeah, it is.
It's blowing harder than it's been all day.
Yeah, so now we're going way left. So it's literally changed directions. I'm gonna come back 5 minutes. Need another 2. Dang.
He was right on it.
Spot your press? Yeah, I got it. So the wind now, I've only got 3 minutes of on there for wind instead of 10.
You just
Yeah.
wonder how many of those you shoot through.
Well, there's no telling. That's the thing, is like, since you know the sun is starting to kind of try to come through the clouds, as air heats up in the middle of the valley, it's gonna rise out of both sides of it. So we're going to have wind coming towards us up this hill, and then wind going towards the target of that hill. So, given enough distance, it's basically going to kind of, like the bullet's still dropping, it's just not going to drop as much because the wind is kind of pushing it up a little bit.
Surfing on it.
Yeah. There's so much that's happening between here and that target that it's insane. You know, when you start thinking about all the little things.
It's a long ways. That would have been a dead deer. Almost got that forward.
Yeah, I almost got it again. Dude, I'm on it. I'm just not in it. The wind kind of changed a little bit. Well, I'm out of rounds. I mean, I've got those 185 grain ones, and they would definitely get there. I just don't want to mess with having to figure out how to make it there.
You sure?
Yeah.